Hello, good evening and welcome to this fine Wednesday evening. I say fine, it's not fine, it's cold. Oh, it's been glorious past few days, really lovely and sunny, and still, a little bit of a chill in the air, but it's been pleasant. It's been a pleasant spring few days, and today the cloud decided to come and it's taken the temperature down even more. Anyway, it's meant to be beautiful this weekend, so we'll wait and see if that happens. And then apparently it's going to be raining over Easter. How typical's that? Right, let me just do that, tilt that, get that right. Hi there, Cindy. Chilly but sunny here, see? It must be everywhere. Hello there, Becky. All right. I do not want to keep you this evening, so this is not at all going to be a very long live. Yes, let me leave that in there. Let me take that off there because that was all for photographic purposes. And then I can fold that like that. Now then, hi there, Vivian. A few videos back, I asked the question, which came first, the chicken or the egg, and it was a rhetorical question in relation to if you're a newbie, do you make your covers first or do you make your signatures first? Well, it depends on the materials that you're utilising, really, as in if you make the cover, then your journal pages will need to be made to fit. Good evening there, Jane. If you do it the other way around and put all your pages together, then you would need to make your journal cover to fit the pages. So, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Now, the same can be said about decorating, and I've seen, as I say, I joined a few beginners groups of junk journals on Facebook, and I wanted to see, hi there, Sandra. Howdy, Karen. I'm afraid I won't be able to stay with the live. We'll definitely catch up on replay. Have a good one. Stay warm. Thank you very much. As I say, it's going to be a quick one anyway. I just want to go through a few hints and tips. So a lot of the questions were, do I decorate up my pages before I put them in the covers? Well, you can. My suggestion would be not to do too many. So, for instance, if I turn over this page here, you can see that I've got this pocket here and you can see that I've got a tag in it. Okay, we'll come back to that in a bit. Hi there, Kerry. It's 4:14 here in Australia. What, in the morning? Ye gods, woman, go back to bed. Now, if you're very lucky, go back a little bit. Hi there, Judy. First time here? Well, hello and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. I keep my projects all in one of these plastic wallets, so it keeps it all together. Says she who has piles and piles and piles of stuff all the way around it, even on the floor down there. But invariably, I try to keep a project within one of these pouches. It keeps it all together. Makes sense to me. Might not make sense to you, but it makes sense to me. If you're lucky and you've managed to get a digital kit, you will find that a lot of sort of pockets and tabs, more pockets and file folder sort of pockets and tags and little bits and pieces and butterflies, whatever. Journaling cards could be made into tags, journaling cards or pockets. So it comes with a variety of different things that you can add to your journal. Right, so like all bits and pieces like this. Now these are Artie Maze's freebie downloads that I've got here because I thought they went beautifully with this cover, because it kind of hints at spring, you know, printed envelopes, or whether you're using your own raw materials. Let me just gather those up, put those to one side for a minute. If you're looking, you've got all those things, then you know you can cut all those out ready. But what do you put in your journal and what do you not put in your journal? Well, as I say, before I attach this signature into this journal, I would personally, this is the way in which I do it, I would personally go in, and if I've got tags ready or note cards ready, I would put pockets in, and also put in the likes of my tags. I wouldn't decorate it fully, but I would put a few in so that I can get a feel of what my journal's going to be like, and it also gives me an indication as to what else I think I might need to add. When it comes to putting the signatures in though, I take all of these things out, and I take them out methodically from the front through to the back, and I make a pile off to the side so that they are kept in order. Hi there, Angie. So then it means that once my signature is then in situ in the cover and it's all been stitched in and I'm all hunky-dory fine, then I've got all of these things in the correct order to go back into the likes of the pockets. With me so far? Good, glad to hear it. Didn't even give you a chance to answer then, did I? Now, again, before we start stitching the signature into the cover, there are a few other things that you maybe just want to think of, or just, you know, contemplate. Sometimes, no, let me start that again. You can be as slapdash as you like. You can put your signature in without any of the things in situ and then go about decorating it up. My problem with that is that you then think to yourself when you come to decorating it, oh, I wished I'd stitched that page now. And you can't, because it's already stitched into your cover. Oh, I wished I'd stuck a napkin on that now, and I can't because I've got to leave the glue to dry before I can move on to the next page, so on and so forth. So sometimes you need to give it that little bit of thought. As I say, you can just go hell for leather and just go and do it if you want. Personally, I think you end up then making a bit of a rubbish journal, and you then get disappointed with what you've produced. You need to put that little bit of thought into it sometimes, whether you like it or not. So, for instance, this page I'm going to stick onto the back of this page to make a really nice big pocket, because I don't want white and white. So I'm going to stick that onto there. I also could then think about, where did you come from? Yeah, I think you were in there for another tip. I could also think about stitching it in then. So let me stick this in place and then you'll see what it is I'm prattling on about. So I'm just going to stick just these three sides. And I do think that if you give it a little bit of thought, I think you'll be far more pleased with the overall outcome of your journal, rather than just, you know, going at it willy-nilly. And willy-nilly in the UK is a terminology that we use. Okay. So that's now glued in place on that half of the page, because I don't want it gluing on this half. So I could stitch down there, down there, and down there. If this signature was in place, I wouldn't be able to do that. So again, it's that little bit of forethought of going through and just making sure that you know exactly what it is that you want to happen on that page. So let me just slot that back in place. And let me just pop that back in there, because I know that I want that in there, and I'll come to that in a bit. The next thing that I want to think about is, are there any pages in here that I might want to do? Now I did choose a page. Where's it gone? There's it's gone. So you see here, I've got this little tiny flappy foldy bit here. And again, I'm going to stick this page to this page, because again, I don't want all that white. So let me take that out to the side. Let me bring this out here. Now I'm not just going to stick this one in, because one of the things that I would like to do is I would like to border punch the edge of this paper before I put it in. So again, if this was stitched in, if the signature was stitched in place, I wouldn't be able to get my big border punch out and do this. Oh, I haven't used this for a while. Come on. In fact, can I do the two at once? I can. Let me just make sure that they're lined up, because then I can do the two together. So let's just see, because this pattern is a bit, yeah, so I'm all right with that being at that end. Okay. So you could make a note in your book, if you've bought the book, if you're using the book. Oh, that wants to go there, Carol. You know, the order in which you can do things, the order in which you can think about the way in which you want to do things. Hi there, Pat. Loads. You've missed loads, love. That on there. So you could write yourself a little list of, you know, do I want to border punch? Do I want to stitch? Do I want to glue pages together? Blah-de, 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 blah. So I can put that down there, and I can put that down there. And I think that I might even want to just ink up the edges of those papers to just make them stand out a little bit more. So I've got my silicone mat. And I'm going to have to be careful, because this paper is not the sturdiest. So let's see if this works. Might not work, but we'll give it a go. And the thing is, we're not aiming for perfection. You know, that's the whole point of making journals, stroke junk journals. They are meant to be an expression of just creativeness. And if it's given us pleasure in creating it, then we've achieved half of the intention. Because it's being creative that helps to close all those horrible, nasty thoughts that we have sometimes, you know, feeling down, feeling fed up. So that makes that stand out more now, doesn't it, than that one? So, so as I say, it's the intention behind making journals, or the intention behind doing anything creative, is about getting the pleasure of making it. It might be a bit pants, but if you have had pleasure from creating it, and it's relieved a whole load of intentions and pressure from your life, even if only for 20 minutes, then it's done its job. So that's why we're not aiming for perfection, but having a few hints and tips along the way to help us to create something that is lovely really helps. Because if you're already feeling a bit crappy, the last thing you want to do is make something then that looks a bit rubbish. I went to put that in the bin then. I love that punch too. I don't use it often enough. All right, so I want to stick this page to this page. So let's pull that out. So make sure we're in middle for diddle. Fold that over. There we go. See you, Becky. And then we're going to put glue around the 3 sides again. And I'm putting it around the 3 sides and not just the 2, because I want to give it a little bit of sturdiness down that centre fold for when we come to, you know, stitch our signature in place. So that wants to go there. And I also want to stick the ends of these flaps down. So that therefore then it makes a little bit of a pocket. Because we love a pocket. So that can be glued down there. And in fact I might even, because it just bow in a little, is put a little bit down there as well. So then we've got 2. So I can go one there with a journaling card later on. Okay, this side now. Now, as I say, if I had stitched my signature in place, I would not have been able to do this very easily. I could have done it, but it wouldn't have been as easy as it is at this moment in time, because I can pull all the pages out and do what I need to do on them. So that's that page stuck in place. Stick this little flappy bit down. There and there, a bit of glue. We'll have a bit in the middle for diddle. Middle, thereabouts. Bottom edge. See, I want to help you to create the best journal that you can. You know, because I think it's awful if you go away and make something and then you're disappointed. So I'm hoping that my videos with the hints and tips in will just help you to make a journal that you are pleased with and that you are proud of. So that now opens up like that, you see, and then that can go in there. All right. Let's straighten you up a little bit, because you've gone a little bit diddly-do wonky woo. And I want to go to this page. So again, I've got these plain book pages in, and I might want to stencil on them. I might want to do some gesso on them. I might want to do some embossing on them. And again, I can't do that if this is already stitched into the cover. So again, it's another thought process of what do I actually want to do. Now in this instance, I'm going to stick this on there to make a tuck spot, a long tuck spot. And I can do that because I'm not bulking up the pages too much What I'm not doing is I'm not adding the things that are going to go into this tuck spot, because as I say, when I come to stitch the signature in place, all those things will fall out. They'll make it too bulky, they'll make it too difficult to stitch the signature into the cover. So I can stick this in. I can stick it in now, or I can stick it in later. I also don't want to stick this edge too close to the fold, because that will make it too bulky at the fold, which is where I'm going to be doing stitching later on. So I'm going to move it away from that folded edge, and I'm going to put glue, which which 3 sides, Carol? No, 2 sides, 1 and 2. Okay. So I've done that before now, stuck it in and gone like, oh, fussing, russing. Done my Muttley impression, cursing and moaning, except I'm not as polite as that. And I've stuck it in the wrong way around, or upside down. Okay, so I'm not sticking it right close to that edge, and then that can go in there, and that's now ready and in place. So now I can open that up, and then I've got some long pockets already made up, already folded over. So I could stick that in place. Again, I'm not going to stick it right next to that fold. I'm going to ink up the edges beforehand as well, because I can't ink it up once it's glued in situ. So I'll get that bit done. Now if I wanted to add some lace on here, I can just stick it on, and that's the sort of thing I can do later. But if I wanted to stitch it in place, then I'd need to do that before I glued it in place. So it's thinking it through step by step. What can I do? What can't I do? What shouldn't I do? Now, I'll decorate this up later with all the extra little bits and pieces. So, turn that over. And we'll put glue on those folds. And I just think that these colours go so lovely with that book page there. So again, we don't want to go too close to that fold. And that will do me very nicely, thank you very much. So then I come to the centre of my signature, I'm all right with that. Right. So I thought about adding this library pocket onto this page here. Create a nice little bit of interest and cover over this boring bit here at the bottom. I think it's a little bit too big. Yeah, you can do that as well, Angie. Use small sticky notes on the pages to remind me of the original thought, because I'll forget. Or you could take photographs. Now, I think that this is a little bit too big, and I've made a series of these up ready to go, but I haven't glued them down, so that if I wanted to alter them to fit in with a specific page, I can still undo them and alter accordingly. So I am going to chop off a little bit down there. And so we then come on to mask making videos. Now, if you're a newbie, you won't be into mask making yet, but watch the mask making videos, because even if you only make up 3 or 4 of a specific item that's being shown, it gives you 3 or 4 in your stash. Because when you're a beginner, you also are not entirely sure of what your style is yet, or what sort of preference you have to the type of journal that you want to make. You know, whether you want it to be florals, nature, hip hop, you know, you won't know all of that sort of stuff until you've started creating a few journals. So even though the creator might be making 20 of something, doesn't mean you have to make 20 of something. But get the idea, make 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 using what you've got, and then you've got a small supply then. So it means that when it comes to decorating up your journal pages like I'm doing now, then you've got a few to utilise already. And if needs must, make it up thinking not necessarily about, do I want it to be flowers? Do I want it to be butterflies? Do I want it to be this? Do I want it to be that? Do it in colours so that, you know, you've got some colour versions. Oh, I don't want them scissors. Oh, them's me fabric scissors. We don't want them. I seem to have frozen on my screen. I don't know whether I've frozen in chat. Let me just have a look. Oh, it's my laptop's frozen. And I'm also going to chop off just across the top there with my curvy pinking shears. They're not ziggy-zaggy pinking shears, they're curvy ones. Okay. Come on. No, my laptop's definitely frozen. And then I can ink it up. So if any of you are typing in chat at the minute, I can't read it because as I say, my laptop's frozen on me. Now the other thing that I wanted to do with this, where's it gone? Oh, bloody neck. Oh, there it is because this writing's upside down, I wanted to stick, I'd got this spare little bit of napkin, and I wanted to stick that on there. So, let's do that. So I'm just going to use my glue stick. Couldn't think of the word. There we go. So glue stick that in place, and then I can decorate it up further at my own leisure. But at least the basis of it is there in situ. And I'll just chop that bit off because it's not needed. And then I'm going to put glue around 3 sides on this so the back of it can then be used as a pocket. Come on. Don't want to play. Can someone just type something in chat to see if it comes up on my phone? Because as I say, I know that my laptop's frozen, but I don't know if the video itself has frozen. For all I know, I could just be sat here talking to myself. I'm hoping it's still recording. And then I can put that on there. Oh, there we go. Someone's typed something. The video. Oh God, didn't read that. Moved too quick. Kerry's put testing. Pat's put hello. Cindy's put hi Arta. Oh, hi Arta. Not frozen on my end. Okay, so it is just my laptop's frozen then. So again, chicken and egg. I could put the library card in there. I could put a tag in behind that. Oh, that blooming ice cream van's back again. Can you hear it? But when it comes to putting the signature into the cover, I would take all of these bits and pieces out and, as I say, keep them as a little pile off to the side. But I'm starting to get a feel now. I've started adding pockets and things. Same as I've got this tag bit here. I could cover that with napkins. Well, I would need to pull that out and cover it with a napkin before I actually put it in place, because I would need the glue on top of the napkin to dry. So I would do that before I stitch the signature in place. But otherwise, I'm quite happy with how it's starting to come together. And then I've got this paper bag one here, which I'm going to stick on that blank page. Now I'm going to do this off camera later on, but also I want to do some stenciling on the background. And again, if I've got this stitched in place, and I know I keep repeating myself, I am sorry, but if I've got this signature stitched in place, then it's not so easy. It can be done, but it's not as easy to do this stenciling if I don't take this page out of the book. All right, so it's easier to do it out of the book than it is in. And then I would stick that paper bag then on top of there. So, yes is the answer to the question. You can decorate your journal before you stitch the signatures in. But again, what I would say to you is, take all the extra bits and pieces out. They're going to bulk out your signature too much. Put a few pockets in. Take pictures of pages, how you've partially decorated them, so that you've got a reference point, or as Angie said, use small sticky notes to put in there. But definitely put your pockets in. You can definitely put some belly bands in. Make up other pockets, do any stitching, do any stenciling, do any paper napkin decorations that you want to do. Oh, I wanted to stick that on there. See, there's another little card I would take out. So let me ink that up. We'll stick that one in place as well. And then once my signature's in place, I can then go and add all these extra little decorative bits and pieces, you know, like your clusters, your tickets, little images, flowers, anything along those lines. I can actually stick in place once my signature's in place. But I've done a little bit of basics so that I've got an idea of what's what. Okay, stick this one in. I want that one there. Okay. And I keep looking through as well to make sure that I'm happy with how it actually looks. So I know that this page needs cutting down a little bit, but I'll figure out something with that a bit later on. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with those two pockets there. I'm happy with that tuck spot there. I'm happy with that pocket there. May do something in the corners here and here, or here and here. We'll see about that. But I've got most of the things in place that I want in place before I stitch this signature into the cover. So, and that will be stuck on there once I've done my stenciling, and I'm going to do that off camera in a bit. So all in all, I'm happy with how that's coming together, and I'll reach a point where I can go, right, now it's time to put my signature in, stitch that in place, and then I can finish decorating it up. I would ask if you've got any questions, but I can't see chat, because as I say, this blooming laptop's frozen. Let me just see if I can unfreeze it. I'm going to have to shut it down and start it up again, I think. Always the way, isn't it? And my tea's gone cold. Made myself a cup of tea, gone cold. Right, let me just switch this back on again. There's just one other thing I want to show you before I'm going to go. But I do want that chat back up, so let me just clear my decks. You can have a think if you've got any questions. You can go away. I'm wrecking the joints. There you go. Put my glue away. Put them away. Oh, and I've got a nice clear desk again. I don't mind so much the mess around me, but I can't be doing with a messy desk. It just makes it awkward for working. As I say, it looks as though I'm a bit of a neat freak and everything's all neat and tidy and lovely. If you could see all round here, you'd have a laugh. Right, are you going to fire up laptop or what? No, I don't think it's very happy. Okay, if you've got any questions, you'll have to ask them in the comments underneath the live video once it's on replay. My laptop is not happy bunny by the look of it, so I need to go and tend to that. Let me just bring this down and then I can read some of the chat that's coming up on my phone. Do you decorate the pockets? Oh, it's faded away. Do you decorate the pockets? And I didn't get the rest of it. Do you want to just repeat that question for me, whoever that was? Please. I'll move that up there, because I know it was about pockets. Arthur's saying hi to Pat. So as I say, I can't see chat. So the lady who just asked, do I decorate the pockets? I didn't get the rest of it. They asked, do you decorate the pockets more after you stitch them in? Okay, so this is glued in. That's now looking fairly plain. And in fact, this one's a better example, isn't it? Where's it gone? Come on, play nicely. Where are you? I've lost it. There we go. That one. So you see this pocket here. So if I wanted to stitch that onto the page, then I'd need to pull that page out and stitch it on. If I wanted to decorate this up but not do any stitching, then I've stuck it in place and then I'll decorate that up further once I've put my oh, it's doing an update. That's why. Blowing updates get on your nerves. So I would decorate this pocket up much further once the signature's in place. But the question was all about, do you decorate the pages up before you stitch your signature into the cover? Well, I'm saying you can do part of the decorating. I wouldn't do all of the decorating. I certainly wouldn't leave all the extra bits and pieces in there when you come to stitch your signature in place. These I would remove and take that bulk out, because it's hard enough to get your pages stitched into the cover without having to deal with all of these extra little bits and pieces sticking out of all of your pockets. But now I've got that in place on the page that I want it to be on, it's nice and flat. Once I've stitched the signature in, I would then decorate this up further. And I like doing lots of faux stitching with my pen. If you've watched any of my videos before, you'll have seen me drawing dotted lines around pockets and pages and things, because I like doing faux stitching. I just have this thing about drawing straight lines. There you go, I'm weird like that. So I would decorate further later on. But in terms of stitching, if I wanted that stitched, I'd have to stitch it first and then stick it in place, or stick it in place and then stitch it to the page. I hope that answered the question. As I say, I still can't see chat unless it comes up on my phone, which is why I've got it tilted at a funny angle. So that's me done and dusted for today. About, do you decorate the pages up before you stitch them in place? You do some. You don't have to do everything. That bookmark pocket, I'd put a bunch of ephemera on it before putting it on the page. You see, I wouldn't do that at all, because it just creates a whole load of bulk that when it comes to stitching these in, let me just get these lined up properly, so then I can show you. I mean, everyone to their own, you know. I'm not saying I'm perfectly right. But if I come to stitch this signature into... Hang on, let me pull my phone back up. If I come to stitch this signature into this cover, and that pocket is fully decorated and it's got loads of bulk on it, it makes it harder to clip these pages down to make it easier to stitch that signature into the cover. And that's why I only partly decorate, and then I'll go back and decorate further later on. Does that make sense? That's the way in which I do it. As I say, I'm not right. Don't mean you're right or wrong. Don't mean I'm right or wrong. That's just the way I do it, because I find it easier. I'm trying to find that pocket page again. I've lost it again. Where's it gone? It was on that book page. Ah! Other side of that, look. So you see, if that was all fully decorated and it was quite bulky, this wouldn't lie down nice and flat and make it easier for me to put that signature in. So once that signature's stitched in, it's easy enough to go and add all those extra bits of decoration on top of there afterwards. And as I say, I get a better feel for what my journal's looking like as it's coming together. I mean, as Mr. Tim says, you do you. And it's very true. You do you. It's just that this is the way in which I do it. I find it easier. And I'm hoping that some of those hints and tips will help you as well. And if they don't, if it doesn't sound right to you, that's fine. Hang on, I can't read that. Yes, stitching it together after decorating the pages is much more challenging. That's my problem, to put the book together. I couldn't read it before it went off. As I say, normally I have chat in front of me on my TV screen there, but my computer's gone down. It's updating, so I can only get it on my phone down here, and it comes up and then it goes ooh and fades, so I only get to see it very briefly. So I think the gist of that was that's why you have difficulties stitching your signature in place. So yeah, cut back on the decoration a bit, put in your basics, your pockets, your belly bands, naughty laptop, yeah, you're not kidding. Your pockets, your belly bands, do any stenciling, do any sticking of napkins in place, do any stitching on your sewing machine that you want to do. Do those things first and then stitch your signature in, and then do the multiple decorating afterwards. And it's a lot of fun then decorating it up. And especially because you've got some of your pockets in place, you're like, oh, I know what I want on there. I know what I want in there. I know that it's next to that page, so therefore the colours will be. To me, I'm a logical person. I don't know whether I come across that way, but I'm quite logical. And it makes a logical sense to me to do it this way. But as I say, this is the way I enjoy making them. Everyone else might be slightly different. Right, guys, I'm going to keep this short, as I say. And we've already gone to 45 minutes, and I was hoping to keep it to 30. But I hope that you found it interesting, maybe even insightful. And if you've got any further questions, because obviously I can't read anything, put them in the comments down below. Please give me the thumbs up. I know that Pat's already prompted you to do that. Because it really does help to get other people to come and have a look. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. The one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, I'll do in another video, because I don't want this to go on too long. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I shall be going to bed very shortly after I've had something to eat. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all again really soon. Bye for now. Ta-ra a bit. Ciao. Arrivederci. Bye bye.